Final hour of the final conversation, and this week on Kenya's biggest conversation, and it's a healthy Friday conversation as we normally do. And today we'll be talking about one issue that has taken quite a number of people into very many areas of distress, and in terms of what you do for healthcare, in terms of what you spend, and in terms of how it actually affects your health for the long term. It's not aside from the fact that today is World Kidney Day, and we're asking ourselves today the question, what to watch out for. Joining us in the hot seat for today's Healthy Friday discussion is a consultant nephrologist with the Acute Hospital in Kisumu, and that's Dr. Ben Lomatayo. Good morning, Daktari.
Good morning.
Karibu sana, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
We're going to be looking at kidney disease, and of course, I mean, just imagining the different things, the different effects that it's had on people in the last decade is quite something. But before we get into that, on this World Kidney Day, CT is going to welcome you properly to the Situation Room, and I see you smiling, so you must have heard the rumors. CT will welcome you with today's proverb. He'll tell you which African country it's from, and then you can share what what you think about that proverb, right? Okay.
Okay. Our proverbs the whole of this week.
Your reputation precedes you, CT.
It appears so.
Yes.
Our proverbs have been from the Gabonese Republic of Gabon. Now, I worked very eloquently on Gabon and the things about Gabon and why Gabon is where it is and what it is, the history and so forth, for a simple reason. Gabon, in many, many ways, is symptomatic of what it is, the history of it, symptomatic of the continent. A continent rich in human resource, rich in diversity, rich in mineral resource, and yet the poor are so abjectly poor. They give new definitions of poverty. Mm-hmm. And those who are rich are so filthy, stinkingly rich that it is actually sinful. Now, these have brought problems to these countries, and that's why we've had coups and coups and coups. Gabon belongs to a geopolitical region that is referred to as the coup belt for a very good reason. One could say there are more coups in that country than rainfall. No, that's not true.
Wow.
But there are a lot of coups in that particular country. This shouldn't be the norm.
It rains coups.
Yes, we can't take this as the norm. It can't be that it's normal that countries are constantly in turmoil, because the people who suffer the most, again, are these poverty-stricken citizens of the continent. Anyway, this proverb is not poverty-stricken. Yeah. Bad friends will prevent you from having good friends.
All right. First of all, I think I want to thank my hospital to give me the opportunity to come to Spice FM. Many times I get the opportunity, I listen to Spice. And it's my pleasure to see City in person and do, and probably Dennis Asseto.
Yes.
Correct. All right. So my take on this Proverb City is this, just like generally in life, if you have something or you believe in something, you would like to stick on it, and you want to bring other people to be with you, regardless if it is good or no. And therefore, probably the bad friends for themselves, because they're not seeing it bad, so they feel like this is something good, and if you are out there, they lure you in so that you'll be with them, and that's it.
You painted a good picture.
Very good picture, right? Indeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, and so painting a picture of, of reality, and if we take brushstrokes to that today, we're looking at, it is World Kidney Day, and we're looking then into kidney disease and some of the effects that it has had on folks over the last period of time, and just looking at some numbers in terms of what has been happening. But before we get into that, what does a nephrologist do? Because obviously now, talk to us about nephrology and what it entails. It's definitely linked to the conversation that we're having today, but just give us an insight into that.
All right. Okay. So a nephrologist is simply a doctor who is taking care of kidney patients.
Okay.
Right? And the care of kidney patient is quite diverse. There are many diseases linked to kidney. And as well, management of this disease also is very diverse, ranging from lifestyle up to some clinical interventions and technology based like dialysis. So even kidney transplantation.
Yeah.
So this is basically the nephrologist.
Yeah.
And what is he doing as far as concerning kidney disease and the management.
Okay. So there are different kinds of kidney diseases, but if we just look at the burden over the world, and as by way of introduction, the world is looking at almost 800 million cases of people living with kidney disease today. Looking at about 1/10 of the world's population. We're not talking about those who've died from it. We're talking about those who are presently living with it. And if we look at the burden in Kenya, 4 million Kenyans currently living with kidney disease, possibly will be 4.8 million by 2030. And that's a big number. We're also looking at just under 10% of Kenya's population currently living with kidney disease. Give us an overview of the kinds of kidney disease that we see are affecting people and what is causing them.
All right. Thank you for that, Indo. I think going into this discussion, I want to remind ourselves that the World Kidney Day, actually, it was yesterday, and there was celebration across the country and globally. So, for the same reason that you're bringing about the numbers and what it takes, actually, kidney disease, it become kind of epidemic or sort of global crisis, and that's why we have activities like World Kidney Day. And by the way, yesterday it was the 20th anniversary for this event.
Yeah.
The first time started in 2006. It was joint initiative by two non-profit organizations worldwide. That is International Society of Nephrology and also International Federation of Kidney Foundation. So these organizations, they are basically working towards promoting kidney health for the same reason that we just introduced, taking lives and the numbers. So, and kidney disease is also silent killer in a sense that there are no symptoms that somebody can present, especially initially, and you will see those symptoms when actually 90% of the kidneys is gone. This is where you start seeing the symptoms. So it's a big issue. If you look at it from 1990s up to 2016, the numbers are getting crazy. That is as far as concerning chronic kidney disease, or we call it CKD. You see, you mentioned 850 million. That is, by the way, statistic up to 2017, and we're now in 2025. Probably a different thing. And then also, if you like, epidemiology stuff like incidence, prevalence, death rate, mortality, and also disability adjusted life years. Everything is double from 1990 up to 2016. So you can imagine now the volume of the crisis that we're facing as far as concerning the chronic kidney disease. Not only that, just not few years, not so long, it was the 19th cause of death worldwide, if you look at the rank, 19th. But the chronic kidney disease...
19th out of?
I mean, in a rank.
Yes, but out of how many?
I mean, there are many diseases worldwide.
The reason why I asked the question is I'm trying to determine the seriousness of it. Because if it's 19 out of 20, it's bad. It's 19 out of 50, it's 19 out of 100.
So,
yes.
Yes, Probably it is.
If we look at the common causes of death in the world, let's
Right.
say common medical causes
And there are
of death.
50 of them, and
Yes.
kidney disease at 19, then it's
Yes.
pretty serious.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes.
I don't have the exact number.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yes. But what I'm trying to project here is, 19s, this few years, it jumped, and as we speak now, it is 7th cause of death.
Seventh.
Now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just few years, even a decade or so. Let me tell you, in a decade,
Yeah, the last 10 years.
10
yes,
years.
yes.
it came to
What has
7.
happened in the last 10 years that has
Yeah.
brought about this?
Yes.
I mean, as I'm just saying, it's a silent killer.
So we see an increase of it. Is it because we are able to detect it better? We're able to understand what it is that happens to people? Have the numbers of human beings increased? And so by so increasing, the number of diseases that we carry has also increased? Is it this man talks about climate, or is it the climate that has changed?
All right. The main drivers, diabetes, hypertension, and also aging.
Aging.
These are the main drivers.
I'm interested in aging.
Look at this side when you're talking about aging.
No, I'm thinking of aging because I'm old. So, I was saying in the past people didn't get old, so they didn't need to. This was not a factor.
Tweak their kidneys.
Or is it that people are living longer, and as a result of it, we are beginning to see the determination of the illness in older people?
Right.
I think, Dr. as well, how would you tie this with the kind of lifestyle that we live?
Well, then is, kidney disease usually come as a result of something.
Okay.
And as I just mentioned, diabetes is one major risk factor. And if you look at diabetes, there's also increase in prevalence, increase in incidence, and then the worst case scenario is these things now is coming to the low and middle income countries. So it's no longer a Western thing as we thought before. More diabetes now we are experiencing, then more kidney disease now we are experiencing.
Okay. So you talk about kidney disease coming as a result of different things. You mentioned hypertension. So as a result of that, you could get kidney disease, diabetes. We know that with diabetes, for example, there's heightened urination, and then that also then has an effect on how the kidney works, because it is essentially the filter, for waste in the body, one of the filters for waste in the body.
Right.
So many things can happen. And I'm going to give an example of a case that I was involved in just a few months ago, not months, just a few weeks ago, whereby there was a severe case of malaria, right? And because of this, we started to see the shutdown. And because of this, malaria went untreated for a particular amount of time. And we started to see the shutdown of the kidneys, whereby we saw, and I would like you, just because I was involved in the case, then we can now start to see terms that come about with things like creatinine levels, whereby they should be at 114 at the highest. But in this patient, they were at 1,400, right? And he was in a critical state and had to be taken to the ICU and then the HDU thereafter, and then brought back to the normal ward. So this person was actually in the beginning stages of critical,
Right.
and going towards kidney failure,
Right.
essentially. But just to go back to what you said, that kidney disease essentially comes as a result of something else that has happened. In this case, malaria that had
Right.
affected the organs, could be hypertension that affects the organs, could be diabetes. So it doesn't essentially just come out on its own unless you had
Some
a
triggers.
fault with the kidney itself before. Is that what we are saying? So essentially, kidney disease is caused by something else.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And what are the symptoms that you would then be able to say, okay, there's something wrong here? What would you say that a nephrologist, or when you go to the hospital, they would say, okay, then there's something wrong with your kidneys because we've seen 1, 2, 3.
Right. I think the scenario that you just said bring us to something called kidney disease in tropics. Like where we are now, there are some factors that can lead to kidney disease. Among them is malaria. For example, you get also diarrheal illness and poisons or snake bites, and also the weather, especially heat. You get some form of dehydration. This can project you also into kidney disease, plus also traditional medicine. So these are common risk factors for kidney disease that we can see in our area here in tropics, beside the things that like hypertension and diabetes. And most of the time, stuff like malaria or typhoid or diarrheal illness bring us something called acute kidney injury. Acute kidney injury means the kidney most of the time has the ability to go back into the previous healthiest state, as long as you address the factor. Like you mentioned, malaria and this number of creatinine went high. So if the malaria is treated, for example, early on, is addressed, then we expect recovery in the kidney function. But sometimes you mentioned that this person become very critical, and the level of creatinine, which is supposed to be 114, is now become higher. In this situation, besides treating the main cause that lead to kidney disease like malaria, we can support the kidney with what we call dialysis treatment. And the moment we see creatinine very high like this, is a reflection of that the kidney is really not doing well. Yeah. So beside addressing the main cause, like treating the malaria, you also want to support the kidney, because sometimes creatinine very high like this, the person is not able to make the urine. And sometimes a lot of waste also accumulating into the body, including potassium and a lot of acids, which will require other form of treatment, which is dialysis, beside treating the main cause of the kidney failure here, which is malaria. But as I said, most of the time, these are reversible condition. Like when you treat the malaria, even if this person went through dialysis, there is a high chance for the kidney to become healthy again. But we advise people in this situation, they should have also close monitoring after discharge, because a small number, they can move from this situation of acute kidney injury to a chronic kidney disease, which now we're talking about a global crisis and all those things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doc, as we talk about acute kidney injury, in this country there is a problem in terms of over-the-counter medicine. You are sick, you're feeling some type of way, over-the-counter, buy a painkiller, and you're good to go. And reports suggest that these as well would cause what you call medication injury or excess of that would affect the kidney due to that. Just how bad is the exercise of over-the-counter medication, and this leading to increased numbers of kidney diseases that you see in hospitals?
Absolutely, Dennis. This is a very important point, and that's why we utilize World Kidney Day to promote awareness about kidney health. And these are one of the things that it can actually lead to acute kidney injury, over-the-counter medication. And sometimes it will not take you long to have kidney injury. Sometimes you just take maybe 3 or 4 tablets. Then you'll now start to feel like this is not your body before you start taking this tablet. For example, let's say you have a knee pain for whatever reason. Then you start taking them. Maybe 3-4 days down the line, now you feel like you're feeling fatigue. You start, for example, to vomit. Then you need to seek for health advice. Then, when you go there, and if the kidney is tested, things just out of blue, you'll find that, for example, your creatinine is all of a sudden 800, just because of that simple painkiller that you have taken. And that's why, from one of the messages that we can send to people today, try to be very careful with these painkillers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you take us back a little bit and talk to us about what creatinine is actually?
All right. So, kidney function usually we test it by some markers. So one of the markers that we use to tell us about kidney function is the creatinine. Originally, it's originated from the muscles, but we'll use it as a mark of the kidney damage, though it's not the best, but it's the one which is at the moment at least available, and we are utilizing it to reflect the kidney function. Yeah.
Okay, so is it a waste product? What is it?
Well, if you have, for example, normal kidney function, you mentioned that it is, for that case, for example, that reference case that you mentioned is around 114, right?
The normal to be 114,
Yeah. That's to assume that everything is all right. So kidney is able to handle it. But if it goes out of this range, that means there is an issue, and it become a waste. That really has to be cleared, especially if you take the example of the drug or painkiller that you just take from the pharmacy.
So how do you get it? Is it through urine? Is it blood samples?
Well, it's a very good question. This also brings us to the messages of World Kidney Day. So the theme of this year is early detection and protect kidney health. So it's asking the question: are your kidney okay? Now, this early detection, you can put line under it. It means two things: identify people at risk. Of course, we can't test everybody for kidney disease, right? So there are some risk factors. You just discuss some of them, like diabetes and hypertension. So if you have a patient with hypertension, that is known, you can test that person for urine. In the urine, we are most interested into things like protein in urine. Protein in urine. Normally, there are certain limit of protein in urine. That's physiological. That's normal. But if it exceeds that, it may indicate that there is a kidney issue. So in the urine, we look for protein, and also sometimes protein plus blood and other stuff. But commonly is protein.
Okay.
And for the blood, we test the creatinine. So it's a blood test.
All right. World Kidney Day was yesterday, the 13th of March, and we're having a conversation around that and what to look out for with Dr. Ben Lomatayo. And as we do that, we're now looking into its treatment and how that is then accessible and readily available for people around the country. More and more people getting on dialysis every weekend, saying, okay, so why does it have to be 3 times a week kind of thing? So let's look into some of those as we come back from this break on our Healthy Friday conversation, looking at World Kidney Day and what to look out for at 9:30.
It's my responsibility to make decisions for the family. I'm the man of the house now.
Just do what needs to be done. I'll be there to support you, no matter what happens.
I already talked to Alexis Salvacion, alias Mila de la Cruz.
Aiden, Mama and I already had a deal. She promised me to give your Aunt Felice her inheritance.
Uncle Ador Grandma's still alive.
Our agreement didn't say that she had to die before claiming the inheritance.
Grandma?
Kuna taratibu ile inafuatwa. Wananchi wa hapa, for example, wakitaka station, kuna utaratibu ambao inafuatwa. Kuna kitu inaitwa public participation pamoja na leadership ya area fulani. Wao wenyewe wanaona kweli hapa tunahitaji kituo cha polisi ndio tuweze kuongeza usalama. Kwa hivyo hiyo wazo inaletwa mpaka inafika kwa Inspector General wa polisi kule Nairobi, na kweli sisi tukifuata ile utaratibu imewekwa na katiba yetu, tunaona kweli inatakana kupeanwa polisi hapo. So hiyo ndio ile utaratibu inatakana kufanya, na ndio ile angefuata ule alifungua kituo yake ya polisi.
This is Maisha Asubuhi, na kama ilivyo desturi naitwa Solomon Zuli. Moja inakuaga moja.
Yeah.
Mbili inakuaga ni twins.
Yes.
Lakini tatu kwa Kiswahili tunahitaji. Tunasema ni tatu sure.
Sugar boy, sugar boys and the Acute boy, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm veiling the one.
Introducing
mpigo tena zaidi finally bwana.
Finally.
Nimezama ndani ya stesheni nambari 1. Tuko mbele pamoja. Tatu sure zaidi. Niteme Mandrio kipenda niteji baba.
Karibu sana Nairobi, lakini mimi nitakupatia memo ya Nairobi. Watoto wazuri Nairobi. Lazima uwe makini.
Hapo archives hapo.
Ulipoingia tu. Hapo tutamuintroduce kwa kamba ndugu zangu.
Monday to Friday, each and every week itakuwa ni tatu sure kama unavyotuona hapa. Sugar boy, sugar weasel, main man Rio, Solomon Jefferson. Hii ni
tatu sure zaidi.
Usipime.
Situation that the kidney may have the ability to go back. So in situation of acute kidney injury, for example, if somebody requires dialysis like 2 or 3 weeks, for example, I want our audience also to understand that dialysis for acute kidney injury is not a continuous thing.
Okay.
It's not a continuous thing. So maybe a time will come, this dialysis will be stopped because the kidney is recovered back. Mm-hmm. But this is not the situation with chronic kidney disease, whereby dialysis, it has to be a lifetime kind of thing. So what is this dialysis exactly? It is just simply a filter that, kidney naturally is a filter.
Yeah.
Right? So to try to simulate the kidney, we have this artificial filter outside the body. So this filter is trying to mimic the kidney function. But the kidney work 24/7, but it won't be practical for dialysis to work 24/7. Yeah. And that's why you hear the 2 times in a week or 3 times in a week or sometimes once weekly. So that filter outside trying to mimic the natural kidney function. That is removal of the waste and removal of excess fluid from the body, and also removal of acids.
Yeah.
So what happened technically is we will access the body of the person who is sick because of the kidney failure. We will pull the blood from the body of the person, and this blood will go to the filter, and the filter basically remove the waste, and then relatively clean blood will again come back to the person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me understand this. So what's happening? Because obviously they're seeing this. So there are tubes that are put into the system of a person.
Right.
And what essentially is passing through the tube, going through to now this artificial kidney, as it were, during dialysis, is that the blood is passed through. The blood of this individual is passed through these pipes, and the tubes rather.
Right.
And then this artificial kidney is cleaning the blood because of the fact that the kidney resident in your body is damaged and is not able to do the work.
Exactly.
And essentially you need to keep this person alive for this filtration process to happen.
Exactly.
So how does dialysis then assist the kidney to heal and reverse the damage if the function is not there at the time? You're just taking the work of the kidney, doing it outside the body, essentially.
Right.
So how does the kidney heal? Or because you're giving it downtime now and it starts to regenerate, or what happens?
All right. Thank you for that, Andu. So I just said there are 2 forms of dialysis. Dialysis because of acute kidney injury.
Yeah.
Right. A situation that is likely to be reversible. And in that situation, we know that the kidney is likely to recover. But for that recovery to happen, the person is sick because of the accumulation of the waste and water and things that the kidney is unable to clear. And those waste will kill you if dialysis did not happen. This is, for example, in the acute situation. So we know, for example, person A took drug and then now in situation of acute kidney injury that requires dialysis. So, because this person in acute kidney injury, there's a lot of water in the body, there's a lot of waste, not making urine. These are the situations we need dialysis to clear those things that are not moving because the kidney is not working well. So, if we don't do dialysis, and this is an acute situation, the person might die because of those waste accumulating in the body. So we do dialysis to buy time until the kidney recovers. This is an acute situation. But in chronic, we're not expecting anything. Yeah, because chronic kidney disease is a permanent form of damage, and that's why dialysis in this situation is a lifetime therapy.
So what is it that causes these permanent damages?
Yes. So, these are the risk factors that we're talking about. Like, for example, blood pressure, which is not detected early or detected, but the person is not good with treatment. So, moving around with very high blood pressures, 10, 15 years down the line, then damage happen. Yeah, damage happen. The same for diabetes.
Okay. When we talk about the kidney and the diseases, they are diseases that are related directly to the kidney.
Yes.
What are these diseases?
Well, most of them, we call them glomerular diseases. Glomerular diseases. I don't want to be too technical into that.
No, are you already
glomerular diseases?
Glucose.
All right, glue diseases.
Yeah, glue diseases. All right. So these are inherent disease to the kidney because of different factors, and primarily the disease is coming from the kidney itself. So these are called simple. I can say for our audience, disease of the filter itself. Disease of the filter itself, and there are many and wide range of them, and they also has the potential to cause permanent kidney damage. And also leave alone that sometimes when you go to children, for example, they're born with some form of congenital anomalies into the kidney. This has nothing to do with hypertension, because the kidney is just born, malformed. This also can contribute to form of chronic kidney disease that requiring dialysis. Yeah.
Could there be also genetics involved in kidney diseases? It's you inherit it from, say, parents?
Very good question, Dennis. Yes. We also have some form of genetic kidney disease, even the one just I mentioned. For example, in children. Those congenital kidney diseases, most of the time there are some genetic factors related to it. And also for adults, we also have some form of familial kidney disease. You will see now if you go to some dialysis center, you will find, for example, the father and the son. It's a familial form.
Yes.
We also have them existing.
Yeah. So most of the organs in the body can be replaced through the process of transplant. At what point, especially with CKD, would you then say, perhaps this is a candidate for kidney transplant? And are we seeing the practice of that growing?
Yes. The transplant is available, and it's actually growing as we speak now around the country. So far, more than 600 kidney transplant has happened. So it's an activity that, for example, in a national hospital like Kenyatta, is an activity that happening every Wednesday. Unless there is an issue, then it will stop. But otherwise, every Wednesday throughout the year,
there's a kidney transplant.
Yeah.
And are these donors familial, or are they, unfortunate accident donors? Is there a donor system? What's happening? How do you get or is it, a daughter will, offer one for her father, or a mother will offer one for her son, kind of thing?
Yeah. Yes. So for donation, so far, by law, is a family thing. Yeah. So it has to be family. Right. By law.
And can you function on just one kidney, and how well can you?
All right. Good. And you can function with one kidney, and that's why we also educate the public so that they don't fear about kidney donation. You can be able to live with one kidney. without any problem. And that's why we encourage donation, because there is a serious shortage for donors. People are suffering, but when you discuss with them, you'll find 6-7 brothers in the family, but no one able to come forward.
Is it because they don't understand?
Because they fear.
Or they fear that that maybe they may donate and that's the end of them? Or what is it?
Yeah, I think multiple factor.
Yes.
For example, fear involved, and then also lack of understanding of that you'll be able to live with one kidney without any problem.
You know, there's something as a child I used to hear people talk of. Kidney stones. And I was puzzled. Because my understanding of a stone, when I got to understand the human anatomy and I could see where the kidney was, I was thinking stones.
How can a stone fit
kidney?
there?
What are kidney stones?
Right. So this also other risk factor for chronic kidney disease.
Yes.
So basically, stone come from the idea that we have some chemicals in our body, and also some of these chemicals in the urine. So if you're exposed to some environment, like for example, you have very hot weather and you don't drink enough water, so you're always in situation of dehydration. So those chemicals in the urine, they can precipitate and
crystallize.
and
So they'll
crystallize.
crystallize.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
And then the end result will be stone forming around the whole urinary tract. Anywhere, can be in the bladder, can be in the ureter, can be in the kidney itself.
I reckon that would be mighty painful.
Yes, it's actually. And how do we know it in the practice? Because somebody will come in with severe unexplained pain. You see, and we talked about genetics also. Some genetics rule in stone formation. It's a very painful situation, and this is how we diagnose it. Somebody will come with, for example, unexplained abdominal pain, and when you test the urine, because stone will irritate the system, you'll find some blood in the urine. When you ask for investigation tools like ultrasound or X-ray or CT, you'll be able to see the location of the stone.
So, Doc, one would want to ask, in terms of let's talk about both the genders, men and women. Who do you see the most?
In terms of
in terms of those who seek the services, is it a disease that does not pick gender, or it's just anyone can get it?
Good question, Dennis. Now, all ages, all
genders,
all races.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, if you look at those who on a normal day, because it is a disease for all, this now leads me to the next question. Reports indicate that men naturally fear hospitals in terms of going for checkups and whatnot. And that means that when you talk about kidney diseases, by the time a man is coming to seek for disease, we're talking about critical kidney disease. So how then do we pass this information? Because it is World Kidney Day. How do we convince men not to shy away from hospital and seek medical attention?
Absolutely. It's a true point, Dennis, and that's why you may see, for example, more female on dialysis than men. But this does not mean that men does not have a disease. But probably maybe they are just moving around there, struggling and not coming forward. So, but I think it's an issue, is cutting across, not only
men.
Kidney disease.
Kidney disease, yeah.
You see, many other diseases. But again, as you just said, it's all matter of awareness, increasing awareness, matter of campaign through World Kidney Day and renal outreaches, media. We will get there.
When you talk about, say, populations and regions where kidney disease may be prevalent, and you don't have a history of high risks of things like hypertension, sugar, or the diabetes issues, what then could be the underlying causes? Because I am aware that in certain parts of the country, the HIV disease and infection played a major role in some of these things. But all things considered, what then would be the factors?
Good point, Sete. So the reason we emphasize on hypertension and diabetes, because globally, worldwide, by statistics, these are the drivers. But it does not mean that no other factors that can contribute to kidney disease. So here, for example, if you look at our continent, if you look at our continent, this epidemiology might not be true. Because, for example, the data from the West, we'll see that aging population, at risk of kidney disease and above between 65 and 74, 1 out of 5 men.
Yeah.
1 out of 4 women. A data from there. But what we see here, for example, let's say Kenya as an example of a country from Africa, the trajectory is different. We see young people on dialysis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
We see young people on dialysis. So if you just pass across the dialysis unit, this issue of aging is there, but you'll see young people. So
what would cause it in a younger person as opposed to an older person?
This is the question. This is the question for City.
Yeah.
So the observation that probably we have other different factors, and also what is also difficult to identify those factors. Many times we see these young people, they are already requiring dialysis. In that situation, it's very difficult to know the exact cause of kidney disease. Yes, we can investigate thoroughly. Sometimes the investigation negative, yet the person is suffering from end-stage renal failure, is on dialysis. This person, not only one, a lot of patients. So what I'm trying to say here is we still need to do more in this side of the world to know those other etiologies that you're asking for kidney CT. One way of that is, for example, to do a kidney biopsy. Kidney biopsy meaning if the person come at earlier time before the kidney crash completely, we will sample that kidney. This can give some information about what's going on with the kidney. So sampling the kidney is one thing, and also, Dennis, you mentioned genetics. In this part of the world, we don't know much about genetics for a few reasons. Most of the time, the genetic testing is expensive, and when you see a situation that really you need to do some genetic testing, you're not able because of the cost. So probably some genetic that is missed, some other infections that is missed. Beside the things that you mentioned, I did not discuss. For example, HIV, you mentioned malaria, typhoid. This we know them. Other infection, brucellosis. These are contributory factors. But still, there are many in this part of the world we don't know.
It's true. We don't have a very strong research background when it comes to some of these matters, so data may be thin. However, if you simply go by what is available, there's a time in our part of the world where these diseases were almost non-existent.
Correct.
We had other problems.
Correct.
But these were not our problems. In fact, they didn't even feature as a problem.
Correct.
And then now, they have reared their heads and they are calling for attention because there are many. The number, the prevalence has gone up.
And for that matter, let me just cut you short. Calling for attention. Now the International Society of Nephrology is having something called ISN petition. They are collecting the signature. They are looking for a 1 million petition.
So that?
And then also one of the countries in South America, Guatemala, they submitted a resolution to WHO asking for people, the situation of kidney disease to be prioritized. The deadline actually for this petition was supposed to be in December, but extended to May. because in May there is a World Health Assembly, so that people will lobby for this issue of the kidney to take a global attention by voting.
So, City, you talk about these diseases.
You know, I'm a host here.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, just go on then.
You talk about these diseases being non-existent, and is it because we were focusing on other problems that we were not keen on testing our diseases in the country? And now with population pressures, it's glaring that these are problems that...
Dennis, since you addressed me, one of the problems that we have with some of these non-communicable diseases is the sedentary life that people live. Okay? We didn't have sedentary lifestyles.
Yeah, we didn't. We moved around everywhere.
Some of these diseases are brought about by toxins through agricultural products and other things that we have now embraced. We didn't have those problems before. Okay? So, please, Daktari. Now, over to Daktari.
Yes, I tend to agree with Dennis for the point that he raised that maybe you're not testing for. This is a very important point. You know, if you see the theme for today, World Kidney Day is detect early. How do you detect early?
Yeah, how do you?
Testing. How do we know? Testing. So probably, I want to agree that maybe you're not testing people. You see, and that's why the picture is not that, amazing. But let me tell you something. If you go into dialysis unit, you see people who are seeing on dialysis as far as concerning chronic kidney disease. Actually, this is the tip of the iceberg. See it? It's the tip of that you see in dialysis. This actually the small population of people with chronic kidneys who progress to that end of dialysis. Now the question: where are the rest? Where are the rest?
Because the reason I ask that, City, is because you find kidney disease is as a result of something else. In this continent, we are prone to malaria that you're talking about. So perhaps we had these kidney problems before because of malaria, but we were focused on treating malaria, and perhaps maybe someone has been sick for a while, has kidney disease, but we're never focusing on that. So,